You've joined today for our webinar on making tax digital, and we're talking today about how you can make your company become more efficient. I work for a firm called LB Group. We're a top 75 firm in the UK, and we've got offices in Stratford, Chelmsford, Colchester and Ipswich, and we have a vast range of services for your business. And with my role within the firm is I'm head of financial technology here at LB Group, and I'm a chartered accountant, and I'm going to guide you through the webinar today. So some of the content overview we're going to be talking about today is what is making tax digital, who is affected, what the requirements are, compatible software at the moment, how you can benefit from making tax digital. We're going to give you a quick demo on Xero. We're going to be talking about some third-party apps that work with Xero, and also we're going to have time for some question Q&A session at the end. Just checking whether everyone can hear okay. Yeah. So first of all, what is making tax digital? This is a government initiative which is basically aimed at to try and reduce taxpayers' money by becoming more efficient. They are trying to become the world leaders in digital taxation, and VAT is basically the next tax which is going to be affected by this. We've previously seen payroll go down this route. So before, with payroll, you just had to do a final year-end submission, whereas now every time you pay an employee, you must make a real-time submission to HMRC to tell them who's been paid what. Today we're going to be focusing on VAT, and the deadline for that is the 1st of April 2019. There is also other plans for personal tax, and you can actually already sign up for the pilot for personal tax, where you make regular submissions to HMRC rather than waiting to the end of the tax year to make one submission for the whole year. You'd make regular ones throughout the year. And also there's other plans for corporation tax in the same way as personal tax, where you'd make regular submissions throughout the year rather than waiting until you've done your year-end accounts. There's no real details on the personal tax and corporation tax at the moment, and nothing's finalised. So just have to wait and see what happens there. But the government have said it's not going to be any earlier than the 1st of April 2020. So focusing back onto VAT, and so we just got some dates and times here of when your first MTD submission will be due. So although it becomes effective on the 1st of April, if you've got a March, June, September quarter end, your first making tax digital VAT return won't be until the 30th of June 2019. And so that submission will be due on the 7th of August. And as you can see, if you've got April or May corporate quarter ends, then you're looking at September and October for submission deadlines. So although it's becoming effective from 1st of April, you still do have some time to get sorted and ready for this. So so who is affected by making tax digital then? So it's any VAT registered business with annual turnover of more than 85k, 85k being the registration threshold in the UK, and this includes any type of business from like sole traders, partnerships, LLPs and limited companies. So it doesn't matter what type of businesses you are, you will be affected by this. The government has understood that there are some more complicated requirements for VAT, so they have made a deferred some businesses, such as if you're a trust, a not-for-profit, PLC, overseas traders. Quite a common one is VAT groups, an annual accounting scheme. But yeah, just some of the options there on the right-hand side for deferment. So Yep. So what do you actually need to do for MTD? So at the moment, you just need to submit your VAT return via some software. So instead of logging into the online portal as you may have done previously and manually entering your figures in for boxes 1 to 9, you would make the submission directly from your accounting software. There has to be a digital link between HMRC and your software, and your records must be kept digitally. There is a full list of what exactly needs to be kept digitally on HMRC's website, and I can share that with you if you're interested. But mostly it's not like invoice receipts and invoices. It's mostly your actual data that needs to be held digitally. And all you are submitting to HMRC when you make this is the same 1 to 9 box numbers. So before there was talk about making a detailed submission with your full breakdown of what that VAT return is made up of, but back in October, HMRC scaled that back to just having the totals, boxes 1 to 9. Some of the software which is compatible for making tax digital is spreadsheets. In terms of holding your data in a digital format, other popular ones are Xero, Sage, QuickBooks Online, and also we have available a VAT filer solution from CCH. Just going back to the spreadsheets, although this is allowed for holding your data digitally, you still will need some sort of bridging software in order to submit that spreadsheet data. So yeah, there are some options out there for just bridging software, which will take the data from your spreadsheet and then submit to HMRC. However, we don't feel that's a good long-term solution in terms of what your requirements would be for corporation tax or personal tax. So although it will help you out for VAT, we'd recommend that you move on to either upgrade your Sage software or move on to a cloud-based system. So the Making Tax Digital pilot is basically a way for you to register early and give the Making Tax Digital system a trial. So you can log on and go in the same ways that you were previously and make that submission. There are specific time frames from when you should sign up for the Making Tax Digital pilot, especially if you are on direct debit, and it's roughly 19 days prior to the submission deadline. So there is going to be a full timetable of when HMRC recommends that you sign up for the pilot, if that is an option for you. And also, if you have already got software, there may be an option within your software to turn on the Making Tax Digital submissions. So I mentioned before about cloud-based software. I just wanted to briefly touch on what actually is the cloud. You might already be using it in terms of accessing your online banking and using technology from your mobile phone to share images with people. But it's basically a place where all your data, files and software can be accessed anywhere that's connected to the internet. And it can be accessed from any internet connected device such as a laptop, mobile phone, tablet, etc. The main advantages of it is that you don't have any maintenance costs in terms of server, so you don't have any initial outlay for buying a server and having the network locally. All you need is to have an internet connection and your data can be hosted there. Many companies are already using cloud technology such as banks, Apple and Google. So I just listed out some of the advantages that you can actually get from embracing the current technology and coming on board as part of the Making Tax Digital initiative. So although you're going to have the cost of the software, where you may have been used to just recording your stuff or recording your information in a spreadsheet format or even manually in a book. The advantages you're going to get is that the software will be able to link into your bank account, so you won't have to manually enter all of your bank transactions. So the date, the description and the amount will come in automatically. The software is going to link to HMRC's government gateway. So yeah, as I say, you can submit your VAT return directly from your software. You can create and send out sales invoices to your customers directly from the software, so you don't have to open up Word and manually type over some sort of Word template or an Excel template in order to create your invoices. You've got one basic form in order to create those sales invoices, which you can then customize and send out to customers. If you're part of like a cloud-based system, there's going to become more and more onus on AI automation. So machine learning technology is going to come in and help automate more of the processing that's available. There's already technology available where you can do most of your bookkeeping by taking pictures of your receipts. And with the added benefit of having your software link into your bank account, it's going to reduce the amount of administration time greatly. You're going to have your data is going to have be live for your accountant. So because your data is centralized within the cloud, both you and your accountant are both going to have access to that data. So we'll be able to provide you with some proactive advice, or be able to log in and give you some pointers on where you're going wrong, or maybe there's some additional services we can offer to help you out. As well as there being accounting software which is hosted by the cloud, there's also lots of other third-party industry-specific software. So for example, if you are a builder, there's apps like Traderify where you can do project management within it, which then integrates in with your accounting system. So it's reducing the sort of administration and data entry you're having to do with recording your invoicing or tracking where your projects are. You're also doing your back office accounts function at the same time. So yeah, we're going to be talking about some third-party apps later on. There's also a reduced risk of your loss of data. So quite a big concern that people have with cloud technology is that all their data's on the internet, but there's actually, it should be more secure by being on the internet, in that you have password protected data. Whereas before, if you just held it in a book in a filing cabinet, then unless you've locked that filing cabinet, then anyone's going to get access to that data. And very rarely do I come across where clients have recorded their information in a spreadsheet and then actually password protected that spreadsheet. So yeah, you should have a higher level of increased data security, basically, by hosting it on the internet in the cloud. There's other security features available on cloud technology, which I can talk about in more detail if you like. And also creates a digital record as well. So now we're going to do a quick demo on the Xero software. Just going to do a quick overview of it. Okay, so just give a quick overview of Xero, and so this is the screen that you'd see when you first log in, and this is just the dashboard which you'd see. So down the left hand side you have your bank account and cash flow information, and on the right hand side we've got an account watch list. So if there's certain accounts within your software that you want to keep an eye on, you can add them onto your watch list. So this one's got advertising and entertainment, and it's showing this month and year-to-date figures for specific accounts. It's quite good for business owners if they just want to have a quick snapshot of specific accounts. Down here we've got invoices owed to you, and this is just a quick cash flow based on the due date of those sales invoices of when you are expecting to receive this money in. And then down here we've got bills to pay. Again, this is based on the due date of your purchase invoices that you've entered into your system. So that's just a quick overview of the dashboard. Also within Xero, you can record your sales invoices and send out quotes. So just having a quick overview of sales invoices. From here, you can create new invoices or recurring invoices, and it's a very simple form for you to fill out. Just put in who you want to send the invoice to, for example, and then from the drop down you can choose which items you want to sell. So you can create this and customize this to your specific business type, but this is a demo company that we've got loaded up. So once you choose one of the items, it will pre-populate the line for you, which you can then customize to sort of change this quantity to 50, and it will update the sales invoice. You can change specific branding types as well. So if you've got different types of branding within your company, you can change your branding on your sales invoices. And then once you've approved that, I can demonstrate to you what that actual sales invoice will look like. So you can either send it out directly from Xero as a PDF attachment, or you can send it out in an email format as an online invoice. And you have the options as well to attach payment types onto your sales invoices. So if, for example, you've got a PayPal account in your business, you can link up your PayPal account to Xero, and it just gives your customers a more convenient way of paying your sales invoices. So once you've created an invoice, you can email it out, and the email can be customized, the actual template, and as you can see, it's picked up the figures from the invoice. And yeah, you can even mark it as sent, and it'll also show a read receipt once a customer has read that sales invoice, so you can tell they've seen it. And it's all part of the cash flow and credit control function of you're chasing up money. As well as sending out sales invoices, you can send out quotes that suit your business type. This is just a quick sales overview to sort of like a cash flow function to sort of show you more breakdown who owes you what money and in what time frames. It also allows you to create bills to pay. So if you're in a business type where you receive invoices and they're due in 30 days time, for example, this is a good way to track, record, and monitor those suppliers who you owe money to. And just clicking through to here, you can click on awaiting payment, and it will show you all the suppliers who you currently owe money to and the due date down the side here. And again, you can customize this to change the sort type, the sort date, so you can see the most overdue ones more at the top. If you do purchase orders, you can also create purchase orders, and then once you receive those goods, you can then mark them off as being received, and then once you see the invoice, you can convert the purchase order into an invoice. So that's quite good functionality. Again, there's a purchase overview, which is the same as the sales overview, and that gives you a bit of a credit control function in terms of when you are due to pay out money. At the top of each screen as well, there's normally a help section with some videos as well. If you do click around you're not too sure on a certain section, there is help functionality along the top here, which you can also hide as well as you're used to the system. If you've got a lot of employees and you manage expense claims, then there is an expense claims function. However, I believe the expense claims function is additional within Xero. So I'm not sure it's activated on the demo at the moment. I'll just go back. No, I don't think the expense claims function is activated on the demo, but it allows you to create your employees to have user access to submit expense claims and record expense claims. It then pulls those expense claims in one area where you can then approve them and amend them if required, and also keep a track of which employees you owe money to as well. It's also functionality for recording your products and services which you sell or buy on a regular basis. What this enables you to do is, like before when we chose items from the sales invoice, you can choose fixed items, and you can create a cost and a sales price for those items. So it allows you to speed up the data entry for regular items which you're buying and selling. Under the accounting tab, you've got report functionality, and it's the usual reports you'd expect in an accounting software. So you've got your balance sheet, your profit and loss, age receivables reports, age payables, VAT returns, for example. And also there is a payroll module as well within Xero, which we'll touch upon later. But yes, just clicking into some of these reports, they are customizable. So once you are in the report, you can change the settings and filter on the data more. So you've got this report settings option, and you can add filters on here. So for example, on the report down here, we've got basket case, city limousines. If we were to filter just for city limousines, for example, we could add a filter with a contact, just city limousines, for example. So it does allow you to customize these reports within the settings. And each report has its own settings. So if you did want to show more columns within the report, you can choose to show more columns. So for example, as well as seeing who owes you money and in which time frame, you can also add a telephone number next to that contact to make it easier to pick up the phone to the client and chase that money for them. So that's sort of touching upon reports. Each of the accounts within Xero is fully customizable. So if you did have quite a complicated chart of accounts already in your software, it can be tailored for that. The actual VAT return process on Xero is that you can click on accounting and then VAT return, choose which period you're doing the VAT return for, and then down here you have the box 1 to 9 figures. If you want to see a breakdown of these figures, you can click on the VAT audit report. It will then show you a breakdown of each of these transactions that make up the box 1 to 9 figures. And from here, this is fully drill downable as well. So for example, if you weren't happy with there being VAT on this invoice, you can just click into this. It will show the invoice. You can then edit that invoice, which actually it's actually a bank transaction, this one. So we can edit this bank transaction against this invoice and change any VAT details we need to. We can also make wholesale changes. So for example, if we weren't happy with all the transactions in the sales account, we can completely change all the VAT settings for everything in the sales account to be 0 rated, for example, or if you wanted to only change the VAT rate for just for young bros, for example. If we had 200 transactions sitting there from young bros, we could very easily change the VAT rates for all those transactions. And then going down, it shows you a breakdown of that. Once you're happy with the data in the VAT return, when it comes to submit the VAT return, it's very easy. It's just a case of clicking on this File VAT Now button. It will then prompt you to save the report. And then in the demo option, it doesn't actually allow you to file, but if you then click on this File and Publish button, you'd enter your government gateway ID and password. You'd hit the Submit button, and then it would then tell you whether that submission has been successful or not. And if you wanted to review those VAT returns later on, you can come to the Filed with HMRC tab. All your filed with HMRC VAT returns will be on here. And then you can click in to confirm whether they've been submitted or not. And normally when you submit via the, sorry, excuse me. Normally when you submit via the government gateway, it gives you a submission receipt ID. And on here, if you click into that VAT return, it will then tell you your submission receipt ID. As well as doing VAT returns, there's also the option to post manual journals, which is something that accountants and bookkeepers are probably more used to. If you're a business owner, then you probably won't need to do any journals, but it does have the option to do manual journals and recurring journals and reversing journals as well, and repeating ones. There's also functionality to have to run your payroll directly from Xero. And the advantage of running your payroll directly from within Xero is that when you go to submit your payroll, the cost and the liabilities are automatically submitted into the accounting software. Whereas if you have a standalone payroll system and an account system, the way to get your software into the system is that you'd have to post a manual journal. Either that or your costs and your liabilities would always be about a month behind. So it is GDPR compliant in that it will email out the pay slips to the employees as an encryption, and it also allows employees to keep timesheets. So you can provide your employees with access into Xero. They can then record their timesheet from the Xero app. You can then approve that timesheet, and then that timesheet will then form part of the payroll. So it's just a way of having a clean data flow from your employee to the person managing the payroll, to then straight to HMRC, and also tying up the accounts department as well. It's compliant for auto-enrollment as well. So if you are with Nest, for example, there is direct integration with Xero and Nest. So once you've run your payroll, you can submit that auto-enrollment submission directly to your workplace pension provider. Whereas if you didn't have that integration, you'd have to have it in a spreadsheet format and upload that data, whereas this gives you a very clean submission with all the data straight from your payroll system, so it minimises the amount of errors that you can do on there. There's also a full onboarding and auto-enrollment process for employees, so it helps you to produce those letters when you are onboarding clients onto it. When you are enrolling employees into auto-enrollment, it will help you produce those letters to sort of notify employees of what their requirements are. So it's also this is an additional feature on Xero, but it's called projects. And so, for example, if you are a builder who does project management, this does allow you to keep a track of where you are with your projects, allocate costs and people's timesheets to projects. Not sure if this is going to work because it's quite a new feature in Xero and whether it's enabled on the demo. But for example, you can put in their budgets on your projects, and you can raise sales invoices against that project as well, so you can see whereabouts you are in the job, how much of the job you've invoiced, where your costs are on the job, and who's had how much time on a particular job. Doesn't look like it's loading at the moment, so I don't think it's available on the demo. But there is full information on the project system on the Xero website. Contacts is just a place where you can centrally hold all your contact information, and from here you can group them up. If you do raise a sales invoice to a contact, they automatically become a customer. If you raise a bill to a contact, then they automatically become a supplier. Again, if they're in the payroll system, they're an employee, so it has some sort of automatic grouping functionality. And then from here, it also shows you how much money each contact owes. You can add multiple people to these contacts. You can load in their VAT numbers, default VAT settings for the clients. You can load in specific payment terms for the customers, so what account they should go for as default. Yeah, specific VAT settings, company registration number. If they have signed up for a discount, then you can automatically assign that discount to them when you raise a sales invoice. And yeah. So that concludes our sort of overview of Xero, and just going to go back onto the slides now. Yeah, so as part of, as well as having Xero, as I said before, there are over 700 apps that connect to Xero currently, which is increasing year on year. Just a few years ago there was about 500, now it's about 700, so it is increasing exponentially. And a few of the apps which are pretty useful are things like Receipt Bank, so where I mentioned before, where you can take pictures of your receipts and invoices. Receipt Bank will take the data from that receipt and invoice, and it will automatically submit that data into Xero. So instead of manually typing out the date, the description and the amount for each invoice, you just take a picture of it, you send it to Receipt Bank via the app, or send it to the website, and it will automatically populate within Xero. There's also other functionality like Fluidly, for example, which has machine learning technology, which can look at your Xero data and then predict where you are with your cash flow, and it uses data that you've held previously within Xero, and it will tell you based on how quickly your customers have paid you previously, and it will forecast your cash flow for you on that basis. So it's quite intelligent. It also has more advanced credit control functionality. So for example, if you wanted to group up a certain bunch of clients or customers which are bad payers, you can tailor how you are contacting those clients based on that grouping, and it allows you to customize emails, and allows like a credit control team to be able to actively monitor what's going on in the business. There's also a company called SatFX, which allows you to transfer foreign exchange currencies. So, and it will link into your data within Xero. And the advantage of that is that, for example, if you've got a purchase invoice that's due to be paid in 1 month's time in euros, you can schedule to buy euros in 1 month's time, and it can fix your foreign exchange rate. So it allows you to, if you think that the foreign exchange rate is going to go down, which is quite topical at the moment with Brexit, you can sign up for I think it's up to 10 months where you can sort of lock in that foreign exchange rate where you're buying foreign currency, and in general it's about 3% cheaper than it is by the banks. So that's definitely recommended if you do foreign exchange. PayPal, I'm sure everyone's heard of PayPal. It enables you to have PayPal as an option on your sales invoices. So where you are sending out the sales invoices, people can then more conveniently pay off that sales invoice rather than having to log into their online banking. They can do it straight from their PayPal account. There is also lots of other payment providers like Stripe, for example, iZettle. It allows your customers to pay by card for your invoices rather than bank transfer. Vend is quite a popular one for till integration. So if you are a sort of bricks and mortar shop who has customers coming in, your till system will then automatically submit the till or the sales details for the day into your accounting software. So it allows you to submit your VATable, your zero rated, your exempt sales directly into the software, and then it also shows you the split between card, cash, and any other forms of payment. So it helps to reconcile your till takings a lot easier. Yeah, so that's sort of touched upon some of the more popular apps that are available in the marketplace. As I said before, there are more industry specific ones such as Traderify, for example, where if you are a builder, it enables you to record your project management and create those sales invoices that's more specific to your industry. Just got a few client testimonials for clients that have already been on Xero with LB Group. And Climbing Trees is a sort of SEO online marketing firm, and they've been using Xero for a number of years now. And then they find it very convenient to be able to do their sales invoicing remotely. They done it from the Berlin airport previously. So yeah, as I say, there is a Xero app available so that you can reconcile your bank, send out sales invoices, and check on where your business is while you're on the move. And another company called Clearview Communications deal with security products, and they've saved massive amounts of administration time. They're quite a big company, and they've the amount of administration time they do now is basically halved, in that they've linked up Receipt Bank to their Xero system. They send about 600 invoices a month to Receipt Bank, and that's all automatically, the data is extracted from those receipts, entered straight into Xero, and then they can accurately see where they are with their cash flow forecast. So some key points to take home before we close the webinar is what's your sort of strategy for making tax digital? What's more convenient for you? And if you get in touch with us at LB Group, we can help you make those decisions. So for example, if you are used to doing a completely manual books and records, then it might be quite scary for you to go on to like a computer system, and you've also got the added cost of that computer system. But most people who have made the leap from that have enjoyed the extra time that is freed up for them in terms of administration time. So if you get in touch with us, we'll be able to guide you in the right position for that. Lots of people have approached us about making tax digital, and they've all sort of said, or a lot of people sort of said, when do I actually need to go on by? And we've suggested to a lot of them that they get something in place now before the deadline. So yeah, because if you leave it until the last minute, it's going to be chaos, I think, because of the amount of businesses that need to sign up for Making Tax Digital. So it's best to have something in place early, so that you know you're organised for this. And also, yeah, you can get in touch with one of us and we can analyse your internal processes, what you're doing currently. Some businesses we've consulted with have been doing the same things for the last 20 years, and when the accounts team actually talk to the directors, they don't actually realise why they're doing that. But they've been doing it for the last 20 years. The directors aren't really aware, and it's just a completely inefficient process that they've been doing, really. So it's a way for us to consult with us and go through what you're doing currently, what's necessary to be done, understand why you're doing it. And we can come up with some solutions for you. So on that, if there's any questions, there should be a Q&A section at the top there where you can ask some questions. Otherwise, I've got my email address along the bottom there if you'd like to get in contact with me later on. One person's asked about when does the or how can you sign up for the MTD pilot? So if you are VAT registered and when you log into HMRC now, there is actually a message at the top of the screen, which allows you to sign up for the Making Tax Digital pilot. It's actually like a warning message which sort of says to make you aware of Making Tax Digital, and it has a message about joining the pilot. So yeah, so just log into your government gateway, and at the top of the screen, once you're on the VAT section, should be some options for you to add that on there. Someone else has asked how much does Xero cost? So the price for Xero on their website is £22 for the standard subscription. Most people, unless they have got foreign currency in their business, will be okay on the standard subscription. Through LB Group, we offer a discounted prices. So get in contact with us and we can offer the software at a discount for you. We can help you with the full training and onboarding process, and also consult with you about what your internal processes are and how you can get the most out of them using Xero. We can also, in some cases, import your data from previous years, so you've got it in the system to be able to analyse as well. Okay, so that concludes our webinar for today. If you have any further questions, just drop me an email down the bottom there. Other than that, I hope you all have a good day. Thank you.